security guard in Qatar. Yes, there's a lot of controversy stories coming from different people regarding to what you need to expect as working as a security guard in Qatar. However, to my own experience, having worked as a security guard before, I'm just going to give you an overview of what we call a detailed figure or detailed whole picture of what definitely you should understand as you come or when you're planning to come to work as a security guard. First of all, we are going to look at what we call the job role and the responsibility. We are going to look at the working hours. We look at what we call salary expectations. Then we look at what we call the living conditions, requirements, work environment, career growth. Then also we look at what we call the culture and what we call the legal norms. So definitely when you consider all those things, they're just going to give you a clear picture of what definitely you're the person planning to come to Qatar as a security guard, what definitely you need to understand and what exactly you need to know. By the way, is it your first time coming across Mex? I am Mex. Don't hesitate to give me a subscribe button and don't hesitate to support. If you find this information is really useful, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button and put on a notification. You'll always be updated. The new followers, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes, let us try to look at security guard. By the way, did you know that before, security guard was one of the greatest opportunity that everyone would have an entry to Qatar? Because very many companies were recruiting outside from different areas working as a security guard in Qatar. Yes, there were a lot of opportunities for people that can really speak out. Before the reign of what you call before the World Cup, there are a lot of opportunities for security guard. However, when you look at what is happening right now, the opportunities really surpass and they are at a very minimum level, not like the way they used to be. Yes, let us try to dip into the video and exactly we understand what did you expect as working as a security guard, especially in Qatar. Yes, I would try to figure out what could be the similarities for people in Dubai, Bahrain, Kuwait. But this is a detailed overview for those that are planning to come to Qatar. First of all, let us try to look at the job roles and the responsibilities. Yes, as a security guard, you'll have what you call real job roles and responsibilities for you to do. For example, monitoring premises in case, depending on where you are being posted, what you call your company. Yes, most of these companies have contracts in different areas. Let's say in a hotel, in a mall, it can be in a construction site, but depending on where you'll be posted, you'll have what you call responsibilities, and those responsibilities is what you'll be performing. Monitoring access control for those that are working on entrances and barriers, different entry points into the building or in any premises. Then we look at what we call surveillance for those operating CCTVs. Yes, that will be your responsibility depending on where you are being posted. Look at emergency responses. Yes, most of you will agree with me that small emergencies that may come, like evacuations. Yes, you need to be able to indulge yourself because it's part of what you call your responsibilities in any case. Then you report daily logbooks, writing reports, handover reports. It becomes part of your responsibility. That is number one. Let us try to look at what we call the working hours. Most of you will agree with me the working hours of security guard are between 8 hours to 12 hours. Sometimes maybe a little bit more than that, depending on the nature, the contract that you have with your company and where you are being posted to work. There are some projects that definitely would say, for example in Qatar, that it strictly has to be 8 hours and that will be 8 hours strictly. Then there are some projects that will say 12 hours and there are some projects that will say more, that you work more hours will be compensated or will be calculated as overtime. That will depend on the project that you are working in. However, something that you need to know, most of the security guards are working between 8 to 12 hours and most of you will have contracts, so you've seen contracts coming and they are giving you 12 hours. Yes, we look at night shifts. You'll agree with me, night shift and day shifts are common. Yes, depending on the project, you'll be posted to work night shift. That will depend on what you call your supervisors and what you call the project that you're being recruited to. So definitely, if you're night lovers, you'll agree with me, night shift will always be there. But what I have to let you know, no matter night shift, day shift, you still have duties and roles to perform. Yes, we look at Some employers may either pay, I told you, as may pay what we call an overtime for that trigger, depending on which kind of project you are working to. If it's a very good project, definitely you find that each overtime will be calculated according and it will be given to you. However, something that I need to let you know, the time between the time of transportation, which we call from your accommodation to the workplace and from your workplace to accommodation, those depending on where you stay. It may be to and from, maybe taking 2 hours or even 1 hour, but that is not calculated as overtime. That is what we call transportation time. It is not overtime. So I let you know that one, and definitely should know. We look at salary expectations here. When to look at salary expectations for most of security guards, depending on, we have entry levels, we have different levels, but you take it a minimum of starting off from 1,300 to 2,500. That could be the minimum. The minimum 1,300, then the maximum will be 2,500. This is going to depend also depending on your entry level, the seniority that you have. Yes, you are a team leader, you're a supervisor, definitely that could be a different scenario in any way or the other. So you will expect more of that amount of money. However, something that you need to understand, the gazetted salary that is at March 2021, it is at 1,300, the basic salary for 8 hours for all workers in Qatar is supposed to be 1,300. That is what definitely should know. So the other area, depending on the company and the roles that are being attached to you, and yes, you'll find yourself at the end of it all, you'll have more salary, or how many overtime workers being calculated, you'll have a bigger salary or a more calculated overtime salary, which will give you a round figure which is a little bit bigger. We look at expected bonuses. Yes, we look at roles. I told you, roles depending. You're a supervisor, you're a team leader, you're a patron supervisor, you're a security, overall site viewer. Yes, definitely they will give you roles and they will give you different amount of money. So the more roles you take up or the more roles that they agree to do, depending on the structure of the company, then you will be paid more amount of money in that regard. Yes, overtime, since overtime to depend on the company, to depend on the project. Some projects, they may give you overtime. Some projects may say, no, you're not going to be receiving overtime. For people who are working in the FIFA World Cup stadiums, in those you'll get me reward, you'll definitely be a witness, because those are different projects and you're being paid different amount of money in that regard. Yes, however, something that you definitely should understand, that salary may also depend on what we call the private company, depending on the company. Some private companies may stick to a different amount of money, and some companies may want to give you a different amount. And I told you, the project matters. There are some government entity projects that you work to, they're very strict. Then there's some other places, like for example the hotel, the malls, where you'll be entitled to meals, or you get a little bit of tips that will get to add on. It's not mandatory that you're supposed to get tip wherever you are, but definitely you'll understand that there are different ways that definitely you can be able to get from that regard in that case. Then we look at living conditions. Yes, most of you've been asking me questions about the living conditions of security guards. Yes, I want to let you know that security guards live in what we call shared accommodation. Depending on where your company allocates that accommodation, it will be a shared accommodation. Different nationalities live in perspective in the different ways, but it should be shared in one way, and that are always provided by what we call the company provides for you accommodation that was. So definitely, as you are coming as a security guard, definitely in that regard, you definitely have to know that that is accommodation will be provided to you by the company, and you have to leave. Then food allowance, some companies may give you food allowance, it may be excluded, and there are some companies that you say, okay, we'll give you food allowance or we'll give you food. Yes, most of you will agree, you've been in companies where they are providing for you food every now and then, that is lunch or breakfast, breakfast and dinner, or breakfast and lunch. So definitely to find that your food coverage with the food allowance will not be given to you in that regard. Transportation, we talk about transportation. Transportation is being provided by definitely the company. Yes, most of these companies, especially security companies, they have transportations that definitely provide, moving you from one area, from one location to another. So you are rest assured that you are not going to incur what you call costs of transporting yourself from one area to another Unless otherwise you have on your personal business on your day off, then definitely you can have to use other options for you to travel, like the metro, the other ways, Uber, that definitely you can go to in an amusement park for yourself, which is out of what you call the working hours. Yes, then when we try to look at what you call requirements, yes, the minimum age should be 21 and until 45 years. That's when you can be the correct security guard. Yes, education, high entry level, a diploma, they're normally preferred, and sometimes they're mandatory. Yes, well back, the education requirements were not that great, but now they would look for a security guard that definitely can be able to read and write. Yes, experience, to some companies may require what we call a partial experience for that security guard. Definitely you should have that experience. Yes, when it comes to the interview section, most of you fail the interview sections because even the normal things that definitely you can put to you cannot answer the question, and the practicability of it all, you do not have it. Yes, skills, the basic skills, English, and if you know a little bit of Arabic, will help you to stand out in what we call the recruitment process. Yes, license. I told you about license. That says now we call the Ministry of Security license. Yes, when you come, yes, you will definitely have to take what we call license. Security license is mandatory. We heard of this. We are hearing it in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, where people are talking about passing license. You have to have a security license. But even in Qatar now, it's become mandatory for anyone. Has to have what you call a security license, or he has to have a Ministry of Interior badge license that is supposed to get. Let us try to look at the environment, what we call the working environment. Yes, the working environment as security guard is going to depend. Yes, depending on which kind of time of the year. Is what we call the winter period. There is also what we call the summer period. So when it comes to the winter period, sometimes may be a little bit very colder, but you need to cover yourself, have a little bit of covering, which most companies will give you jackets, or that you need to cover yourself. So that period is a little bit more strict for those that have viral diseases, cold diseases, when you can be able to take care of yourself in that regard. Then when you have what you call the summer, you will expect to find what we call extreme heats, extreme weather heat. But however, something that you need to understand, there's all these conditions, especially from around 15 September to a given period for the government will definitely regulate the number of working hours for those that are definitely working outside with what you call exposed extreme heat. You'll be protected in that way, and it's a little bit punishable. But however, you need to understand that there will be the cold, there will also be the hot temperatures that will be mildly very extreme hot in that regard. So you need to be able to adapt and take care of yourself in all regards. Yes, we look at career growth. When you look at career growth as a security guard, yes, there are opportunities that may lead to career growth. However, you need to explore these opportunities. The opportunities will not find you in one place, but however, you as an individual, you'll have to explore what you call the opportunities. Yes, engage in activities like being a team leader, take over responsibility, take over explore responsibility. Yes, definitely you can be able to grow. Look at things that upgrading. For example, you upgrade as a CCTV operator, you get a certificate, you add on what you are, you'll be able to elevate it, and meaning that your salary will be far different. What is so hard, or what always keeps us up, is that we don't want to upgrade, and upgrading definitely will give you an upper hand and will give you a career growth to grow. However, there are also in some companies where there are different positions that are being advertised, and definitely you can take up that opportunity. Remember, an opportunity that comes, and it may be a position that is higher, that you are capable, you may have a little bit of more amount of money that will be added on top of what you get. And definitely for this record, it will also depend on the nature of which company you are working in at that time. Yes, when you look at what we call the cultural and the legal norms, yes, something that you need to understand, that in Qatar you need to respect the law, you need to respect all the laws that are governing respect. We look at things like the custom, the law of customs and the laws, the dress code, we look at the public behaviors. It's quite comparatively that you need to respect them. When you look at the public behaviors, like most of us that have been coming to Africa, it's normal to abuse someone. It's normal to do this, but it's not all. It's not normal here. Once someone files a case or gets to complain about police, you definitely get all other things turn over and get back to you. Yes, we look at zero tolerance to what we call drugs for in any regard. Yes, there is zero tolerance related to such kind of offenses, which definitely are being punishable by the law. Yes, both professionalism and punctuality, yes, is highly valued, especially to all companies that you go for. They definitely agree that, and they definitely look at that in any way they can. So definitely you'll understand in that kind of context. That is what we call a clear picture. If you're planning to come to Qatar as a security guard, definitely know that it is exactly that we need to understand. Hope I've tried to share something for you. Remember, it's always Mex from the Mexcreationtv. Don't hesitate to follow my other sister account, which is I Am Mex, where I explore most of these beautiful places, the hidden gems that definitely anyone can visit